SummerSlam 1997 was a successful and entertaining event, headlined by a long-awaited, well-hyped WWE Championship match between Bret the Hitman Hart and The Undertaker, given the catchy title Hart and Soul. Not to be confused by the song by the same name from the awesome group Huey Lewis and the News. The night was built around the new Hart Foundation, who was featured in 4 out of 7 matches, and 3 of which were for championships. But the night started off with Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley with Chyna in his corner, going up against Mankind in a steel cage match. And this match is famous for its enthusiastic interference of Chyna, who slammed the cage door shut on Foley's head, and Foley's flying elbow off the top of the cage near the end of the match. Foley was able to jump off the cage to the outside, negating Chyna's presence, and get the victory before leaving to the Dude Love theme, which was kind of strange. Next saw Goldust, accompanied by Marlena, to take on the Hart Foundation's Brian Pillman. Goldust was able to get the victory thanks to his wife, who smashed Pillman in the head with a glass jar out of the referee's line of sight, giving Goldust the easy roll-up pin for the victory. It's a bad start to the night for the Hart Foundation, to say the very least. Next up, we saw the Godwins up against the Legion of Doom, Hawk, and Animal. This is probably the worst match on the card, but its memorable finish had a memorable finish with the LOD doing the 2-man pile driver on Phineas to get the pin. Did you guys know that the unsuccessful $1 million giveaway used on Raw back in 2008 wasn't the first time the WWE tried something like that? No. They did something similar right here at SummerSlam 1997 with the $1 million chance sweepstakes. Not great television more than a decade later, though, and I'm sure who entered it would have won and enjoyed it. Guarantee that. That brings us to the first championship match of the night, with the British Bulldog putting the newly instated European Championship on the line against former UFC heavyweight superstar Ken Shamrock. These two have a passable match with which the Bulldog wins by disqualification. Part of Shamrock's act was that he would snap during fights and could not be controlled. He snaps in this fight and gets carried away, hitting the Bulldog with a Vaseline jar and gets disqualified. Not to be something like that. He throws the Bulldog back into the ring and puts him in the sleeper hold with a bunch of refs coming out to pull him off the unconscious Bulldog. The Hart Foundation is one of 2 now. That's one of 2, and that win was not convincing at all. Next, it's time for an 8-man tag team match between Los Barriquos and the Disciples of the Apocalypse. This one breaks down very quickly, and then the Nation of Domination comes out and gets involved. I think Los Barriquos won this match, but the brawl went considerably long. So who's the dominant faction? Who's the dominant faction in the WWE after this result? The answer, of course, is none of them. The answer, of course, is not the Devil's Disciple and not Los Barriquos. In my opinion, I think it was the Nation of Domination. That brings us to the infamous Intercontinental title match between Owen Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin. The build going to this one was very solid with the Intercontinental title. Owen Hart pinning Austin at the previous month's pay-per-view in Your House Canadian Stampede, and then bragging about it for weeks and weeks and weeks on TV. Owen put his Intercontinental title on the line against Austin under the stipulation. There we go. That the winner would have to kiss the winner's ass, and the two went out there and were having a perfectly entertaining match until Owen, God rest his soul, messed up messed up a tombstone pile driver and broke Stone Cold Steve Austin's neck. Austin was able to win the match in fractal passion, getting Owen in a cradle that wouldn't have kept a toddler down for 3. And it was the new Intercontinental Champion until he was forced to forfeit the title the following night due to injury. This was a bad moment for all concerned and completely overshadowed an otherwise fine match and made the Hart Foundation 1 for 3 for the night. Which brings us to the main event of the evening. With The Undertaker putting the WWE title on the line against Bret the Hitman Hart with the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels as a special guest referee. Michaels had been interviewed earlier in the night and had confirmed that he would not get another title shot if he showed any bias against his bitter enemy, Bret the Hitman Hart. And Hart, in the meantime, had vowed to never wrestle in the United States again if he lost. Undertaker and Bret Hart had a very good match here, with Hart really pushing his luck with Michaels and eventually spitting in his face. After Michaels had taken the chair off of him, Michaels then attempted to hit Bret Hart with the chair, who ducked with the chair, but instead hit The Undertaker. Michaels had no choice but to make the count, and Hart was crowned the WWF champion for the 5th and final time. Michaels had earned the Undertaker's wrath, while Taker had problems of his own with his former manager Paul Bearer, threatening to reveal a dark secret of his past that he had lost the title. Now that he had lost the title, there you have it, SummerSlam 1997, a legitimate super show that paid off the storylines going in and setting up for later ones. Overshadowed somewhat by Austin's injury, but still an entertaining show nonetheless. If Austin's injury had been tragic, no one could prepare fans for the fate of his former tag team partner Brian Pillman just a few months later. So that's SummerSlam 1997. Out of 10, I'm going to rate this an 8. Best match of the night was definitely the title match, The Undertaker versus Bret the Hitman Hart, and the worst match was probably the Godwins and the LOD. So yeah, that's SummerSlam 1997. Coming up next, 1998.